So welcome back. We are talking $1 million careers. It is the 3rd of January. I'm here with my good friend, my colleague, Rob Houghton. Rob is the president of MR Fairfax up in Virginia, lives up in Winchester, Virginia, and he's absolutely the master executive recruiter for the insurance industry. So Rob, welcome back. Happy 2023.
Happy holidays, man. Happy holidays, everyone out there. It was a great rest, but like I was telling you before, I feel like a racehorse in the gates, and I'm waiting for the bell. My first call with a client's in 27 minutes, and I tell you what, I can't wait. I just can't wait to get out of this gate for 2023.
Yeah. The holidays for me were non-existent. I finished 2022 while I was on vacation down in Key Largo. My phone was next to my ear, much to my wife's disgust. But I got, over the holidays, 3 placements were made.
Wow.
3 jobs were offered, 3 jobs were accepted, all at the C level. And it was like, wow. So yesterday I was in the office. It was it was kind of the end of the holiday, but I came into the office because it's a work day for me. And at 2:00, I was like, I got to go home. And I just took a nap. I sat down on my back porch and put my headphones in, and 30 minutes, I just closed my eyes and snoozed. The dog one of the dogs wakes me up. He wants to go, he brings his rope up. He wants to go play tug of war, but I woke up and I was like completely rejuvenated and ready to go again. So, it's amazing what a little rest will do for you. And
oh yeah.
Just some downtime.
So
here we are.
It's all good. I can't wait, man. 2023 is going to be a big year.
So I was thinking about this podcast, and I think my theme for 2023, and it's really, simplicity executed well. And how it came about was, once again, AirPods are in my ear. I got the iTunes on, and I'm listening to Jack White and the White Stripes. And the song 7 Nation Army comes on. and you think about the ultimate in simplicity done well. 7 notes, 7 notes. Everybody knows 7 Nation Army, 7 notes and a steady drum beat.
Yeah.
And I do some research on it. And it's like, you got all these people playing it in different keys and all these but it's the same 7 notes, different keys. It is the ultimate simplicity done really well.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for that. I take simplicity in the direction of, I try and break everything down into the magic 3s. What are the 3 most important things? What are the 3 things I did today? When I communicate, I try and do 3 things. I try and, again, I boil down to 3 things. I try and inform, inspire, and entertain. It's simple. 3 things.
And that's 3 simple things.
3 simple things.
You hope to inspire somebody, you hope to inform them of something, and you hope to entertain them. Yeah, look, if it's got to be a little entertaining.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're bored.
I have to give a very difficult eulogy on Thursday for a loved one, and the first thing I thought of: inform, inspire, and even entertain, because you have to lighten the mood a little bit. So I've been thinking about this eulogy, and I've been thinking about how I'm going to start it off. And I'm going to tell, it's not a joke, but I'm going to give an anecdote as to when I was in this particular Catholic church, and I used to use the clicker. I got a hold of one of the nuns' clickers, and during Mass, I'd hit that clicker a couple of times, and all the kids would stand up and sit down, and the clicker fell out of my hands, and the nun figured out it was me who had the clicker. That was a bad day in church. So that same church, I'm going to have to get up and give a eulogy. So that's how I'm going to start it off. Many, many years ago, I remember the clicker in this church.
Yeah.
So again, even something as serious as a eulogy, I was thinking about those 3 things. How can I inform, inspire, and entertain? So
I think about, like, my buddy Adam, who's in the office next door. He came and banged on my office door last February. He just been to the doctor. He was at 285 pounds, and his blood analysis was all whacked out, and they wanted to put him on drugs. And he knocked on my door and he said, "For 5 years, you've been saying, hey, why don't you come to the gym with me?" Now, tomorrow is that day I start. He's lost 70 pounds. He looks great. He's put on incredible amounts of muscle. He's lost 70 pounds. He looks great. But it was really simple. It's been really simple. We do push-ups. We do air squats. We do jump rope. We do rower. You get on the rowing machine. We do dips. We do a lot of body weight stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing is overthought. Literally, we don't even need a gym. We could do, all during COVID, I worked out every day in my garage.
Yeah.
I took with push-ups. We've got 5-gallon water jugs because the water here is all polluted. So we get, Culligan delivered. I had 5-gallon water jugs. And it's amazing how good of a workout you can get in your garage when you just think about keeping it simple.
Yeah. Yeah. So what sort of career advice would you give to somebody using these simple methods and tactics? What are like the simple things that people should do to really advance their career?
80% of life is just showing up.
Yep, exactly.
Be present. Be present. Don't slink in the corner. Don't hide. Don't be a modest mouse. Be present. First thing.
Yeah.
Second thing, find a mentor or be a mentor. People that do really well, you can learn a lot when you teach. And I think about like when I was a complete F up when I was in my 20s. And you and I, we've talked about, I grew up in a pretty tough family. And, I wish I had found that mentor when I was in my teens.
Yeah.
And early 20s. And it would have been, that much easier. So now I pay back. I try to mentor kids, young professionals, but you learn a lot when you teach. I think so.
Yeah.
Be present, get a mentor or be a mentor. And the third thing is there's no speed limits on the extra mile. Do what you're expected to do and 5% more. That's it. Just another hour of work a week. Finish up one more project, do it a little bit better. It's easy. And that to me is, three simple things. It's people, you don't need to go to Weight Watchers. You don't need to go, make it overly complicated. You don't need to go redesign the marketing plan. Just, be present, find a mentor, be a mentor, and do, a little bit on the extra mile to make a difference.
I totally agree. It's like Tom Brady, you'll see these quarterbacks in the NFL that have been backups to Tom Brady over his 21-year career. And they all will tell people afterwards, I can't believe the extra work that guy put in, even being at the top of his game, winning 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Super Bowls now. And people say that the guy just puts that extra mile in. It's just real simple stuff. He just works harder than everybody else. He shows up. He never misses a day.
My daughter and I were talking about Patrick Mahomes versus Kyler Murray. Mahomes is, Murray's a great athlete. He's, down there in Arizona, plays for Cliff Kingsbury. Patrick Mahomes at Kansas City, studied under Cliff Kingsbury. What's the difference between the two? Mahomes is a student of the game. He would watch, they say him and Kingsbury would sit in a room for hours and watch tapes. And they would watch over and over and over. And Mahomes had the maturity to sit there and learn the game. Kyler Murray, they had to put in his contract.
Yeah.
You have to watch tapes. He wants to play video games. There's a maturity level there. The student of the game versus the person that, wants to just show up on game day.
Yeah.
Same teacher.
Yeah. I'll give you another example. So taking this back to my military advisor days. So when I would be in there in a SOTA, which is a special operations center, we would have guys from the big military, from the conventional military, come on in and give what's called a CONOP. It's called the concept of operations. And these PowerPoints would be 50, 60, 70 PowerPoints long, yeah. Graphs, charts. And I'm telling you, by about the 10th PowerPoint, you could actually look over the crowd, and there usually be 30, 40 people in there. And you'd see people starting to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So the Green Berets come in, right? Special Forces. The entire unit is 12 guys, okay? All enlisted except one officer who's a captain, okay? So these are what we call, non-commissioned officers. And their CONOP would be no more than like 12 PowerPoints. And they'd have an occasional map or a chart, but it was simple. And I remember thinking to myself, yeah, I got this. I know exactly what these guys are doing. And it was just real simple tactical missions. And that's why they're so successful, is because they had a thing, I'm sure everyone's heard about it, the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid, right?
Keep it simple, stupid, that's right.
I mean, it was amazing. They just kept everything simple. And it was like, whenever you would hear a guy say, hey, watch this, you know it was going to be a disaster. But whenever a CONOP was put together, it was simple, straight to the point, and it worked. It was a beautiful thing.
Yep. Yeah, keeping it simple. Nobody wants to pick up the phone anymore. I will text this person. I will email this person. I will, it's amazing what can be done with just this.
Yeah.
It's amazing what can be done with a phone.
Yeah.
And a phone call. Yeah, I go back in 1997. I was at Gulfstream Aircraft, and we had just won a big contract with the Air Force, 26 jets to the Air Force. And somebody, my boss, I was sitting up in our DC office, and my boss looked at me and said, how do we get this into the Navy? How do we get this, I shrugged my shoulders. I go, I don't know, give me 5 minutes. Let me think. I'll come back to you in 5 minutes. Let me think about this. I went down to my office. I picked up the phone and I just picked up the phone and called the Chief of Naval Operations, the top admiral in the Navy.
Yeah. Right.
We had his number. I called him up. I talked to his aide, who was a Navy captain named Boomer Stufflebeam, became an admiral. And I said, hey, Boomer, you and I met down in Miramar a couple of years ago. He's like, yeah, I remember you. I go, hey, look, if I have a Gulfstream 5 at National Airport next week, do you and the admiral want to go fly it? And the admiral, the Chief of Naval Operations at the time, was an F-14 pilot. And you just heard this voice in the background go, hey, Admiral, you want to go fly a G5 next week? And all you heard in the background was, hell yeah. He goes, okay. So I went back to my boss and I said, okay, if we have a jet here on Tuesday, we're flying the Chief of Naval Operations. All you had to do is pick up the phone.
Exactly.
Was it more complicated? Was it more complicated than that? It was probably a little aggressive, but simple. A simple phone call put a whole bunch of stuff in motion.
Yeah, man. So fortune does favor the bold. There's no question about it. So I'll give you an example. Something that happened to me yesterday. I do a lot of coaching, right? So this producer, very young producer, I placed her at a different insurance agency, and she calls me up and she said, I'm going into year 2 in sales, and I'm a little bit anxious. Had a decent first year, but I really want to kick it up a notch in year 2, and I need some resources, for my company. And I said, well, before you ask for resources, you're going to have a business plan. Okay. And she said, oh, business plan. Oh, wow. I've never done a business plan before. And I said, I'll help you put together a business plan on one page. And she goes, how the heck are you going to do that? I said, we'll finish this thing in 30 minutes.
Yep.
We'll jump on a Zoom call. And basically it was the same thing. Keep it simple. It was the 5 W's. I go, you have to put together the 5 W's. And she goes, what's that? And I said, we're going to figure out the who, the what, the why, the where, and the how in a business plan. And that's what we did. The who is our customers. Who are you going after? The how you going to do it? phone calls, emails, direct email campaign, social media, newsletter, whatever it is. When are you going to close these deals? Who? Well, centers of influence, associations, retail, wholesale. I went through the whole thing in like 5 minutes. In 30 minutes, because I'm coaching her, I'm not doing it for her. In 30 minutes, I walked her through it, and she come up with the rough draft of the 5 W's. By the end of the day, she had the whole thing done, emailed out to her boss, and she just sent me an email this morning saying, I talked to my boss this morning at 7:30. I got everything I wanted to. She wanted to become a member of the Virginia Trucking Association. She wanted to get email support, redo a website glitch. It just kept it simple, man. The 5 freaking W's, right?
Yeah, I love the people that come up with the convoluted marketing plans. I did a search a couple of years ago, and VP of sales search. And I was asking these guys, all right, what would be your plan if you took and girls? Well, if you took the job, how would you start? What would be your first action? And they all had like really dumb answers. It was like, I'd create the marketing scheme, and I'd start to. I remember, I remember one company I was with. They dropped $25 million on marketing.
Yeah,
$25 million. I'm like, damn! If you just took that $25 million and put it towards a customer dedication program, gave it directly, figured out a way to directly give it to your customers, you'd be, you'd have a guarantee versus a Hail Mary. Right. I mean, it's, all this brand awareness bullshit and things like that. So anyway, I was asking him, I go, what would be your first plan? And it was so convoluted. I came back and I said, why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you just go find, divide the country up in 5 or 6 sales territories, go find the demographic that you're trying to attract, which would be anybody with $10 million or more in net worth, and target them directly. They're like, oh, well, how would I do that? And I go, well, you can go buy lists. You can go get a list. I'm like, somebody asks, would I have to pay for that? I'm like, a list is $300. If you can't invest $300 in your own success, if you need that as an expensed item, if you're not willing to invest $300 in your own success, you don't need to be in business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You just don't need to be in business.
Yeah.
That's the reality. It's like, conferences. If you're not willing to pay for your own way to a conference, you shouldn't be in business. You're never going to go anywhere in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of people, you're exactly right. A lot of good producers, particularly in the insurance side, will just pay those expenses themselves. I want to be the construction expert. Boom. They'll go to the CRS conference or something. It's the same thing. You have to be able to own it. Extreme ownership. We talked about that before. That's really simple, I think.
Which is a very simple concept.
Very simple concept. You just own it, man.
I own it.
So, I had a guy that was a boss of mine. This is going back in the corporate world 25, 30 years ago. And I remember this guy used to do things effortlessly, and he'd always have time to talk to you. He was a great mentor for me and several other people. And I remember the thing that I noticed about him, one of the first things was when he would write a memo, and this was before the days of email now, okay? So whenever he would write a memo, this is when you would dictate it to the secretary, and she'd be on the secretarial pool typing and stuff. He would write one paragraph followed by a series of bullet points, followed by one final sentence. And his messages were no longer than like a third of a page. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is a great way to write memos. And when I send my clients a resume now, as you probably do, I'll put together like an accompanying email, right? I'll put the resume as an attachment. My email is basically one short paragraph, and here's my bullets. And I give them like 5 or 6 bullets. And then a final sentence. That's it, man. It's one paragraph followed by like a bunch of bullets, and that's it.
I agree with you there, because I used to put together like these portfolios on professional portfolios. You're talking about like a COO. I just placed a COO of a company, and I put together these professional portfolios, and then I find out the customers don't read them.
Exactly.
And they literally
They
call
don't-
me up and they go, "Hey, just look, man, we're busy." So now it's like, all right, I send the resume over with a note. I really like this person. Here's why.
Exactly.
And it's followed up with, and then the call to action is, let's chat. That's it.
Exactly.
So the bullshit baffles brains, the make it pretty, to feel like that's big company stuff. That's we got to have pretty PowerPoint presentations. If PowerPoint went away, I don't think the world would care.
I haven't done a PowerPoint in probably 15, 20 years, man. Seriously. It's a waste of time, man.
I spoke at a conference a couple of weeks ago, or back in November, a couple of months ago, and I'm like I couldn't find anybody to do a PowerPoint presentation for me. It's like they're all booked up. They're like, hey, it's like you a professional PowerPoint writer or graphic designer or whatever. They're all booked up. They're like, yeah, we're 2-3 months out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I talked to like 4 of them, and they're like, yeah, no, we can't. We're booked up. So everybody,
people are still doing that stuff, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. They're paying for. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get out of the conference. And my first words are, all right, people, I'm going to give you a great talk and a horrible PowerPoint. So bear with me. And they're like,
I like that one. Hey, that ranks up there with Jack Kennedy's avid reader, lousy surfer.
Avid reader, lousy surfer. It's like, okay, yeah, but the PowerPoint, no, but the PowerPoint wasn't, the message was not the PowerPoint. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, I love the comment. People are like, you can have my PowerPoint slides when this is all over. I don't want your PowerPoint slides. I want the video of this presentation.
Exactly right.
So I can get the highlights out. So
PowerPoint
right,
just keep it simple, dude.
Keep it simple. Bullet points. What's your message?
Yeah.
Pick up the phone. Quit emailing people.
The 5 W's.
Email is for amateurs. Text conversations are for amateurs. I got a nasty email. Well, like 2 weeks ago, I got a nasty email from somebody. And my simple response is not a topic for email. When can we chat?
Yeah.
But you know what that does? That flips it. They got all their power hiding behind email. When you go, not a topic for email, let's chat.
Yeah.
Now they actually have to talk to you. And now they're not going to be as bold as they were when they wrote that email. So the power just shifted. Once again, a simple way to shift power.
Right. You're right, man.
It's
I like those 3 things, man. And like I said, the 5 W's can be used in almost any correspondence or any conversation.
Yep.
Simple stuff, man.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm not a high level intellectual guy, man. I got to keep it simple. I got to keep it real simple, man.
I'm just a middle-aged idiot. But I figure, but that's it. But it's like, just the simple things in life executed well will take people a long way. So anyway, hey, I know you got to go. How do people find you, Rob?
They can find me. I'm all over the internet. I'm on LinkedIn. I do blogs, podcasts. I just came out with my annual salary survey for 2022 for insurance professionals. And people can reach me at rob@mrfairfax.com.
Awesome. Hey, Rob, thanks for coming on. Happy New Year.
Thanks, Craig. I appreciate it, man.
Talk soon.
All the best.
I hope you enjoyed the latest edition of the Aerospace Executive Podcast. You can reach out to me directly, Craig at northstaresg.com, or check us out at www.northstaresg.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or on YouTube. Just do a search for Aerospace Executive Podcast. Thanks again. I'm Craig Piven.